Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, I want to give you a new review on a custom knife. This is Ryan's Custom, New York City knife maker. And this is the one from the contest. And hold on a second, let me just clean that blade off and get all the fingerprints off it for you so you can see a little bit better. I haven't been using this one since I got it. And it's time to do a review. Now, because this is a custom knife, and even if you were to order the same one, it would be slightly different. I'm not going to get into specific specs or even cost, because the different knives he may make you will cost different prices. What I want to do for this review is directly compare his newer work, this specific knife, with Ryan's old knife that he made me out of that C-Tech, when C-Tech kind of first hit the scene and was really popular. So that's what I'm going to do for this review, is directly compare these two knives and my experiences with them, and tell you which one I like more and why. So obviously the blue one's the old one and the white one's the new one. The first thing you notice is that the sheath you get with this knife is different. The original one was just a very simple leather sheath. I'm sure, by the way, all this stuff you can request. Because it's a custom knife maker, you can ask for this and you'll get this. It's not like production where, all right, they used to do this, now they do that. There's no option. There's always options with any kind of custom maker. If you really want something, depending on what the price is going to be, or the availability, I'm sure they'll do it for you. Custom knife makers want to make their customers happy. So anyway, but originally this knife came in a very simple, kind of press-fitted knife sheath like this, just a leather sheath. It worked fine. As I mentioned, I actually use this in my pocket of my pants, and it held very comfortably. It doesn't want to fall out very easily. All right, so it is kind of snug because of the handle there. It flares out towards the base. Really nice quality, very simple. Now, of course, got into using Kydex. Kydex is much preferred over leather for a lot of reasons. The biggest reason I think people like their Kydex is the fact that it is smaller. Obviously, it's smaller form fitting. It holds a knife better. Of course, completely better as far as retention in that sheath. You also have different carry options with a Kydex sheath. You can carry this around the neck. If you put some cord through here, you can carry it around your waist. You can do all kinds of things. You can put a tech lock on there, which gives you lots of options, attaching it to a bag and so forth. Whereas with this, there's not many options at all. You just literally put it in a bag or put it in your pocket. I suppose you could put this in your, through your belt or something like that, but it wouldn't be very secure. So the most obvious thing is going to be the sheath. The sheath is now Kydex. Which do I prefer more? Well, I like the Kydex a lot, but I kind of like the leather more, just because of the fact that it was different. Every knife you get now comes with a Kydex sheath. All right, this is it's kind of old school. I liked it better, and to be honest, in carrying it, I prefer to carry in the pocket when I carry fixed blade. I don't carry things on my waist very often now because of the fact that I have a gun on me all the time. So even though the Kydex would be probably much preferred by you guys, for me, I like the leather. It was nicer to me, at least for my uses. It was more convenient as well. So onto the knives. Now, his original knife here was very impressive, and I really, really liked it a lot. The C-Tech is very cool. It's a very simple handle design, symmetrical in the handle. Both scales are totally the same. There's no real contouring. The only thing I think I hit on and gave it is that the corners were just a little bit on the sharp side. Sharp meaning, there's not as many, it's not any kind of curvature that smooths out the knife overall. Ergonomics are pretty good. There's definitely been some changes in how he made his knives, and a lot of the changes I like. Now, talking about the new knife, let me give you another closer shot here. The first thing we'll notice if I turn it sideways is that there's a lot more contouring in the handles. The handles are very much contoured. All right. Also, the finger choil area is nicely done on the new one, more so comfortable than the old one. Okay. Not only is it a deeper choil, but just how the grinds are, it's more comfortable to hold. Very much more comfortable. I mean, my finger in here, it feels very secure, whereas the old one, if I were to come up with the fatter part of my finger, the higher part, it would almost be a little bit uncomfortable because it's kind of rubbing too close to the edge for comfort. Not quite as finished. The newer one, definitely nicer overall, how that feels. Also, the thumb ramp. The newer design knives have a nice thumb ramp. You can see how the thumb naturally, look at the contours of my thumb and that ramp on the spine. All right, fits perfectly, very, very nice. All right, whereas the old one, very flat, very simple. Now, what I liked about all this work, new and old, is the fact that he brings his handle scales up over the ricasso a little bit into the blade. I just like that. It's something you don't see much. More pronounced on the original one, whereas most handles might kind of land here and be cut off, whatever, and you just have blade. I like that he progresses that handle up a little bit into the knife. Gives it a specific look overall, and it's nice. It's classy looking. Just something I like. As far as colors, I love the C-Tech. I think it's awesome, but I love this kind of, you know, faux pearl as well. And with the gold accents, I think it comes together very nicely. So as far as, you know, overall looks, I like them both for different reasons, but I definitely am a fan of white, as most of you guys know now. I love white on knives. So also you can tell that it is different. Originally just some hollow tubing on your right. On the left you have more of like a hollow bolt. I don't know the exact name for that fastener, but that's what he's using. And then he does have different colors. I saw he has silver as well, if gold wasn't your thing. But I think it looks very nice on this particular knife. Size shouldn't mean anything, just because obviously it's a custom knife. You can basically have this version bigger if you wanted to. So that has no bearing on the overall usefulness of the knife. The two biggest things, the two biggest differences between his old style and his new style is, first of all, the old style, most of his knives were ground like this, okay? Which one thing is a lot of people didn't like. They didn't like the fact that it was chisel ground. All right, you have a flat back and your grinds in the front. Although he still does a lot of chisel ground knives, he did this one and a bunch of other ones in a traditional V grind style, all right, which I prefer. I prefer symmetrical grind, all right. I like the way this looks up front. You can see on top here, the grinds, looks a nice diamond shape. Very cool, and as they come closer, you can see the very grinds in the edge. All the grinds are very even on this as well, which shows his progression as a knife maker in general, and how he's putting all this effort into his work, and it's definitely showing in his end product. Another minute difference is the fact that it has some holes in the blade here. It lightens it up a little bit, gives it a specific look. But the other major thing, besides the fact that it's ground differently, it's going with a double grind or V grind, is the thickness. You could see how thick the new one is compared to the old one. I mean, it is extremely different. All right, the handle scales, although contoured, are thicker, and the stock is extremely different. So I need to give you a quick measurement here. Just going to give you a very, I'm not even going to measure this, I'm just going to kind of line this up to give you a rough estimate. Okay, about 5 millimeters. Actually, you know what, let me just give you a real one. Instead of estimating here, let me actually give you a proper reading. 4.6 millimeters on the stock on the old one. And on the new one, the wide part of the stock here, 6.8 millimeters. All right, so big difference on the thickness. And although this is not necessarily a bad thing, it's definitely preference, and I'll talk to that in a second, I much prefer the older style. Being that this is shorter and thicker, I find that I definitely use this less long term. Now, when you're taking a knife out to, you know, open a box or your mail, whatever, in 2 seconds, you know, if you're just doing a quick little task, honestly, all these details don't matter. I can take pretty much any knife and successfully use it in opening a package real quick. But when you're talking about extensive use, I much prefer the thinner stock because it's literally a leaner grind. It's a better performing edge. This one is 100 times stronger because of the fact that it's so thick, but it definitely hinders its cutting capability because of that. And again, this is preference. The thicker you're going to get with a knife, the stronger it's going to be in general. Generally speaking, it's a stronger, stouter, beefier knife, right? So as far as like prying and things like that, if you really need to use it, it'd be preferred. But I'm not prying with my knives. Rarely ever am I ever doing anything that's remotely hardcore where I'm going to need a super thick blade like this. So I'd much prefer a thinner grind. So that's why I do prefer the other one, and I do use the older one a lot more because of that. Even though I prefer, there's just so many, like I would consider them upgrades to the new knife. The overall fit and finish is better, right? The contour on the handle is better. The grinds are perfect. I like the V grind, you know, all these things, the finger choil. I mean, the smoothness of this, the polishing job. He has a two-tone finish on this. The grinds are kind of a satin, whereas the flats are a beautiful high polish. You could probably see that reflecting the light. So flat area here. I mean, just in holding it, you can feel the back here. It's really smooth. Very impressive for one of his earlier workings. But these new ones are like glass. It's ridiculously smooth. You know, but overall, I will pick this old one because of 2 reasons, and only 2 reasons. Because it's thinner, it performs better, hands down. Same, you know, when you're talking about the same steels, even with the different grinds, this just performs better. It's gonna slice better because it's literally going to be sharper, all right? And it's literally going to be, you know, less of an angle for that material to have to spread. So the performance is better. You will always have a better performance on a thinner knife. It's just how it is. The grinds and all that, you can take that into consideration, but a thick knife versus a thin knife, the thin knife will always do better if they're sharpened very similarly. All right, but besides that, this is a bigger knife and it just happens to fit my hand better. I get a full grip on this. Whereas this one, being short and chunky, my pinky happens to land right here. And this is just, it's a hit or miss thing because, I mean, my hands could be slightly different and it could, you know, squeeze all up in here if it was a little bit shorter, my hand rather. But this particular one in my hand, although it's comfortable and it's ergonomic, I just don't have that same comfort as I do with the old one. So overall, his work has progressed significantly, and I think he's doing an amazing job on all these knives. They're very, very cool looking. I much prefer the looks of this one over the old one. But when it comes down to actually using them for an extended period of time, I'm certainly going to go back to the old one. I just think that these new ones, for me and my purposes, it's too thick. So overall, I really like the knife. It's just going to appeal to a different type of person, someone who wants more strength and you know, more of a beefy knife. So this one's definitely short and wide. I prefer the other, you know, longer, slender one. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the chisel ground blade, do prefer a lot of the changes he's made in his knives. I just I think I would like this knife if it was half as thick. Put it that way. All right, so smaller stock, and you got a complete winner. But for a lot of you out there, I mean, knives are very personal, and while one person wants a knife, another person's gonna hate a knife. This one for me is an awesome knife, but at the end of the day, I'm just not going to use it as much as I would his old style, as well as other knives that are out there in the market for similar prices. But overall, still an amazing knife. Fantastic work, and Ryan, you should be very proud of what you did in every single knife. I know you put your heart and soul in these blades that you make, and I see that through your videos, and I can see it in the work holding in my hand. So that's all. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. I'm going to be doing some SHOT Show videos soon. Extremely, extremely excited to go to SHOT Show. I will try to post videos while I'm there, so there's not a void of videos, as well as some other stuff that's non-SHOT Show related. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.